Just 4 players left on the course.
And one of these 4 is going to win, and is it going to be Greg Norman, or is it going to be Craig Spence?
So here we come. Let's head to the 72nd hole and see what unfolds. Back in a moment, Jack, when once again
the tradition will continue.
Back to the 18th here at Huntingdale. Greg Turner playing his second to the last.
Yes, the only possible shot that Greg Turner had was just a wedge or 9-iron. 6 inches further to the right, he had an opportunity. Yes, there it is on the left-hand side of the fairway. That's all he could do from there. He had no option but to go that. He could have started maybe with a 6-iron towards the second tier of the grandstand, but would have scattered a few people, so he decided just to lay down and try and chip it close and make 4.
Oh, back on the tee, Greg Norman.
Interesting to see what club. I can't quite tell whether that's the 3 metal or whether it's the driver.
Wind coming from his left as he plays the hole.
Trap start at 215 and go all the way to 256. This is safely down the right-hand side. So it's away from the traps. Now it's skipping along. It'll come to rest on the walkway, just on a little upslope.
Well, you couldn't ask for a much better finishing hole. It's here at Huntingdale. It's a tough finishing hole, a demanding one, Jack.
Well, it is, because it's been the hardest hole all day, and pretty well all 20 Masters, it's been one of the hardest. But the big change has been the bunkers on the inside of the dogleg here on the left. The one on the right has been removed. Breeze from left to right today. Greg Norman has knocked it up into this region on the right. And then a new bunker, this bunker in front has been enlarged. The ones on the left have been deepened, and the green now 40 metres long. And this new pin that they're using today, back left, is a new section of green.
One more good drive required from Craig Spence.
They're calling him the Colt from Colac. Let's see how the nerve holds. This is down the right-hand side on the fairway, about 20 metres behind Greg, but perfect position.
Nice, cool Colt from Colac.
The cool Colt from Colac.
It's a good-looking shot just right of the flag, and Greg is usually very solid at this shot. Excellent shot from Turner. He's got a chance for a par at the last to finish on 13 under, and a little unfortunate for Greg. I mean, he's had a lot of chances today, and I think 13 really knocked the wind out of his sails.
He needs to hold that putt on the 18th to tie Felton, the amateur, and Craig Parry, who are both in the clubhouse on 13 under. And, well, I tell you, the man who's driving the Whitman's airship's getting a great view of the 18th as McWhinney putts for par. Remember, he was in the trees off the tee at the last as well. So, an untidy finish for Peter McWhinney. So popular, but still without a win on the Australasian circuit.
Marvellous view from the Whitman's lightship. Look at that scene around 18. Fantastic setting. And the hospitality marquees are full. There's hardly enough room for an ant round this green. And they go right back down the fairway and surround the players' second shots. The players still on the course, that is Norman and Spence. Magic sight.
And they mightn't be moving too far for some time. Should we have a playoff, the holes will be 18 and 17 in that order. Greg Turner, though, is hoping to tie Parry and Felton.
This is for a 70. Oh, by Greg Turner, who joins the group on 13 under, 69 and then 3 70s.
So the story, Spence and Norman at 15, Turner, Felton and Parry all at 13. Bird and Smale at 11, Price and Lonard at 10. And a big putt here for Peter McWhinney. And he gets it. That'll be a drop shot. He'll go back to 8 under, and that'll drop him out of a tie for 10th.
Yes, tough finish for Peter McWhinney.
Costly finish for Peter McWhinney. Only one Victorian golfer has ever won the Masters, and that was Bradley Hughes on 2 occasions. If Craig Spence wins today, he'll be the second Victorian to be successful in his home state.
And I would doubt whether the family will be doing much carpentry work in the next week. The doors could be closed.
Well, of course, Craig Spence, a member here at Huntingdale, and so is Brad Hughes. And here is the young man. Can he hit a shot like Brad Hughes hit when he won?
Well, Jack, he will face no more tense situation, or has faced no more tense situation in his brief career. It's unique in Australian golf, this last hole at Huntingdale. The crowds are completely circling this young man. He has 176 with a 4-iron. This looks to be right at it.
Oh, I was almost told it, would you believe? What a shot from Craig Spence. That could be the winning shot.
Sensational.
And so cool and so calm, and so I've done what I was meant to do. Look on his face. My goodness gracious me. And remember that I've only been 19 birdies at this hole all week, and only 2 today.
Take a couple of deep breaths, and so will Greg, I think.
What a fabulous shot. That was just what Brad Hughes did. Norman going to take a drop here. People been walking across. You can just see the white line there, and on the other side that little mound. And he's entitled to take nearest point of relief.
Jack, I can tell you that while this is going on with Greg, just a regulation drop, Spence's demeanour hasn't changed one little bit. There's been a lot of support out here for him today, a lot of yelling from the galleries, come on Craig, etc. He's barely looked at them. He's maintained his focus, and I know, you know, it's a hackneyed phrase, but he has maintained his focus superbly all afternoon. And even though he's just about holed his second here at 18 in front of this massive gallery, his outlook hasn't changed one bit. Barely acknowledged the crowd. He's eager to get up to the fairway now, mark that ball and try and knock it in for birdie.
Well, I know the few times that I've had a beer with him, he's always given me the impression he knew what he wanted to do. And he's certainly shown that today. Brilliant shot. That is exactly what Brad Hughes did when he had, I think, hit a 2-iron and almost hold it to win. Now, what can Norman do? Both tied at 15 under. Spence already stiff in 2. This is Norman's reply.
After that drop, probably 162. This one's starting to work back to the flag, but it's in the centre of the green.
And now we might just listen as this crowd welcomes them to the 72nd. Let's have a look at, firstly, Craig Spence's shot again, because it's worth another look. Just a wonderful shot under such enormous pressure.
Absolutely. He knew exactly what he was doing. Started it just left of the stick and rode it in on the breeze. And what a shot.
Well, he's led from start to finish.
And now let's join him live as he comes up 18. Listen to this. A feeling he'll remember for the rest of his life.
Sandy, if you don't have the hairs on the back of your neck standing up under these circumstances, you're not a human being.
Or totally bald.
He set the course record on day 1 with a 64. He has dropped only 6 shots to par this week. He's had 21 birdies. 3 weeks ago, Jared Moseley beat Ernie Els Last week, Michael Long beat Bernhard Langer. And this week, Craig Spence has the opportunity to beat Greg Norman.
It's not dead, but...
It's not dead, no, but Norman could still hold. And after what happened last week at the Lakes on the final green, one is a bit apprehensive about suggesting anything. But the scenario is there anyway.
But for all those club golfers at home, imagine having that putt of just under a metre to not only beat Greg Norman, but for $144,000 in the Australian Masters, or the Ericsson Masters.
View there from the Whitman's lightship. And, you know, incidentally, Mosley and Long, and if Spence wins, they'll all have beaten on the final day former world number ones. Langer was the first world number one when the ranking started. Els has been number one. And, of course, no one has been longer number one over the last 10, 12 years than Greg Norman.
And this, if he is successful, will jump Craig Spence some 12 or 13 spots on the ANZ Order of Merit. He's currently 16th. But it is Greg who will putt first.
Let's face it, Sandy, I mean, Greg hasn't played badly today. He's 4 under par with just 1 bogey. Playing with Craig Spence, who's a couple under himself. So it's certainly looks like Greg Norman back in town. 74 the first day, but then 68, 66. And a 4 here will give him 69 the last 3 rounds here at Huntingdale.
When he thinks back to that first day when he dropped shots at the 17th and 18th at the end of his round, we suggested then that they might prove costly in the scheme of things, and well, they certainly have. Oh, they certainly look as if they have.
Well, you'd have to think he needs to make it. Spence so near.
Wonderful effort from Greg Norman, but it's only a par. He can only finish 15 under. It's a 69 for Greg Norman to finish, to add to his earlier rounds of 74, 68 and 66. But the stage is set for a dramatic victory by Craig Spence.
Well, you make your own luck in this game, but if ever a bloke deserved to win, it's Craig Spence. But he's got to make this putt first.
That's his girlfriend. He's been with him all week. This putt for the gold jacket. We have a new champion. Craig Spence is our Masters champion for 1999. What a moment.
Unassuming winner, but my goodness, how well he played. How cool he remained under pressure, playing against Greg Norman, chasing his 7th gold jacket. What a performance. How proud he can be, and how proud they can all be at Colac in the clubhouse up there of their young member. And at Huntingdale.
Will the roof still be on the Colac
I'd say
clubhouse?
the roof would be off, wouldn't it?
There he is, embraced by his girlfriend. Paddy Welch is right there with him. Pat?
They're wiping away tears. Mate, the demeanour didn't change all day. Congratulations.
It was such a grind to just stay emotionally level, you know, because it's in front of my home crowd and I wanted it bad. I'm just really happy.
I said as you played that last shot, your demeanour didn't change. You fought it out hard all day, didn't you? You're playing beside one of the world's greatest, one of our best ever.
Well, actually, what was keeping me strong down that stretch was I'd done the hard work. I led the whole way, you know, and I knew that people would admire that. I knew that, so I said, don't worry about it. Just grind it out and let's finish strong. You want it bad, so you'll get it.
Did you start to get down on yourself a little way midway through the round when those short ones wouldn't go in for you?
I hit some good putts that just kept lipping, you know, that just kept cutting the hole, and I thought, you've got a hole somewhere else, Greg's going to get you. And actually Brad kept me sort of, you know, just patient. That was all I was all week, and it's the best feeling I've ever had right now.
Greatest thrill?
Yeah. With Greg and everyone, you know, it's fantastic.
But you've got to sign a scorecard. Your parents and Nicole are here. Yeah. Celebrate with them. Go sign that scorecard and come back out.
There's his parents, Bob and Dan.
And Sandy, yet another first-time winner on the Australasian circuit this season. So many first-time winners. He's the 7th. There's nothing wrong with Australasian golf. But he's got to sign that card. And he's got to take time to sign it correctly.
And it could be quite a while by the time he gets through all his uncles and family and everything. But we'll just let him go. Let him enjoy it. Let him absorb the moment.
Take your time and sign it properly.
I think we should go to a break, Sandy. I got a lump in my throat.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's a wonderful moment in sport.
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
And a very emotional moment too. He's close to tears, this boy.
You're right, Doc.
No problem, bud. You deserve it.
I just put my pencil on there and I should sign the name alright.
So formalities completed now by Greg. And there is the moment. There is the moment that he'll remember for the rest of his life. His girlfriend watching anxiously, and there it is for her.
Is she happy?
He's got the gold jacket. Final scoreboard looks like this. Craig Spence is our Masters champion. Greg Norman is runner-up. The tie for third between Greg Turner, Kim Felton and Craig Parry.
This is not the biggest thing in your life today. Well, it has to be, but there's a grandchild as well this afternoon.
Definitely, yes. A new grandchild in St John of God Hospital, Geelong, this afternoon. Yeah, it's a new grandson.
Bob, there's been plenty of tears this afternoon. It's all been love. Masters champion. Did you know, did you?
No, the boys did, though.
What about the support from Colac?
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. They're marvellous town, marvellous people. They get behind him all the time. They never forget him. Even when he's having bad rounds, they stay, you know, keep going, you know, so no, they're a great supportive crowd at home.
Nicole, I think a hit of a tear out there too at the 18th green.
Yes, it's just unbelievable. I mean, for it to happen twice this year, you know, leading from the start, and he finished second with Stuart Appleby, but to come out and lead it and win it in the end. Oh, and it's hard back at the room. Can't say anything right. So I try not to say anything at all.
Now, what about with that second shot? Where were you placed when he hit his second shot to 18?
Well, I was up here ready for him to hit up, and just out the front there, and oh, it was unbelievable. I heard the roar first, and I thought, oh, well, that's either Greg's or Craig's, so I hope it's Craig's, and yes, it was, and so I was very relieved then. I thought, it's not a very big putt too.
Well, I tell you what, I think they're still roaring in Colac because they heard it from Huntingdon.
Oh,
well done. There's celebrations to be had. Go out and enjoy this moment with your son.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye.
Sandy, back to you.
Very happy. Yes, on a sunny afternoon here at Huntingdale, the Victoria Police Band march up to the 18th, where in just a few moments Craig Spence will get the gold jacket that he won today, playing so well in the final round to beat the man who's got 6 gold jackets, Greg Norman. A magic moment for Craig Spence, only the second Victorian winner of the Masters in 21 years. And, well, it's a nostalgic moment, Jack. And Craig Spence, surely with a name like Craig and Spence, must have Scottish connections, so he too will no doubt be very happy to hear the pipes celebrating his victory. And it was a great victory, Jack.
The next thing you'll tell me he's playing for Scotland, Renton. You're unbelievable, aren't you? Just because the kid's got a name like Spence. But what a great effort it was. I thought he showed a lot of guts, a lot of skill, and a lot of calm out there today under the heat of battle. It's a very imposing situation to be stuck with Greg Norman in the last group in such a big event in Australian golf. It's a real credit to his golf talent and the way he played this last round.
Wonderful scenes round the 18th green at Huntingdale. And what a marvellous final day of weather and of golf. Greg Norman pushed Spence all the way. Spence pushed Greg Norman all the way. There were others in the race as well, but eventually it came down to these two. And over the years, we've had some marvellous finishes here at Huntingdale. And the 21st birthday party certainly lived up to the reputation that this event has for being one of the premier events on the Australasian calendar each year. I'm sure Craig Spence will have signed his card by now, but so many people wanting to speak to him, so many relations there wanting to speak to him and hug him, that the presentation ceremony delayed just very slightly, but no worries about that. It's Craig Spence's day. So let's hand over to Sandy Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Masters is celebrating its 21st birthday, and we're celebrating this summer our 6th first-time winner. Would you make welcome to the 72nd hole, our champion for 1999, the winner of the gold jacket, Craig Spence. Wonderful moment for the Colt from Colac and, of course, here at Huntingdale. And now to begin official proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome the Managing Director of IMG in Australia and New Zealand, Mr. Martin Jolly.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, Sandy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of IMG, I'd like to thank all the players that have competed this week. In the 21-year history of the tournament, I think when it comes down to the 18th hole, and Craig makes the 20th birdie only for the week on this hole, he deserves to win the tournament. It's just a great effort to go head-to-head with Greg Norman. I'd like to add my congratulations to Craig. Well done. I'd like to thank all the players, and if you look at the players with Greg Norman and Greg Turner and Craig Parry, and of course Kim Felton, one of certainly the upcoming star of Australian golf. Australian golf is in a very healthy position right now, and I think the Masters has proved again with Ericsson's support that it is truly one of the signature tournaments on the Australian tour. I would also like to publicly thank our international guest this week, Gary Player. I have to say I've met a lot of golfers over the years, but never a finer person and gentleman and a great ambassador for the golf, and I'm sure you'd all like to join me in thanking him. I mentioned Ericsson. Ericsson have been great sponsors of the Masters for 3 years. They're with us again for next year and hopefully for many years to come. And I think it's important that Ericsson not only put their name to this tournament, but over the last few years have put their name to a scholarship program for young golfers. And I think it's fitting that Craig Spence on Tuesday night at the Ericsson Masters Banquet was awarded a scholarship, and I think he's paid Ericsson back by coming out and winning today. So I think the support from Ericsson to do that is also worth acknowledging. Obviously, it's not just Ericsson, many other sponsors, and I'd like to thank CUB, Tabcorp, Holden, the ANZ Bank, Coca-Cola and the Australian Financial Review, as long as all of the support sponsors you see around the 18th green here for their wonderful support of the tournament. Thank you. To Channel 7, they certainly set the standard when it comes to golf telecast in this country. I'd like to personally thank Julian Mounter for his support, to Graham Rowland here in Melbourne, the Executive Director, Rob Smithwick, the General Manager, and to Sandy and Jack Newton and Renton, the entire commentary team for bringing us a wonderful telecast this week. Thank you, Channel 7. Huntingdale Golf Club, synonymous with the Ericsson Masters. They've been wonderful hosts. I'd like to personally thank Charles Fleming, the captain, and John Barrett, the president of the club. Obviously, a little bit of controversy, but I think they've proved the way the course was presented this week. We've seen some fantastic golf, particularly yesterday and again today, and I'd like to thank Huntingdale Golf Club. Importantly, the volunteers, there's about 1,000 people all wearing blue shirts around the 18th green and out on the course. They've put up with some rain and some hot weather. And without them, you can't stage a tournament this size and magnitude, and I'd like to thank all the volunteers very much. I'd like to thank IMG staff, Carolyn Roach and Dallas O'Brien and their team, who have again done a marvellous job with the Ericsson Masters. And finally, in closing, I'd like to thank the people of Melbourne, the fans here, and the crowds we've seen have just been unbelievable. I'd like to thank you all very much, and we look forward to seeing you all again next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Martin Jolly of IMG. Martin mentioned Ericsson, who've been fantastic sponsors of the Masters. This is the Ericsson Masters, and I'm quite sure many of their staff might have gone to Tabcorp and perhaps made some money this week if they backed their man in Craig Spence. Now let me welcome their managing director. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Shell Sormay.
Thank you. Ericsson Australia is very proud to be associated with such a fine event. Let me as well thank all the players. You have done a great job. You have produced a lot of inspiration and a lot of excitement. Professional excellence is important to Ericsson when we conduct business, and it's fine and it feels good to be associated with the way our players played over these 4 days. Huntingdale, once again, did an excellent job to put this course to this tournament. Greens beautifully and fairways beautifully kept. As mentioned, we are very pleased to support young, upcoming Australian players. I personally had the pleasure to hand the scholarship across to Craig Spence on Tuesday night. At that stage, I wasn't aware, I couldn't sort of plan for this event, but I'm extremely pleased to see Craig Spence winning this event, and I'm more than happy to hand over the check to him to support him in his future career. So if you join me and congratulate Craig Spence for a marvelous 4 days of golf.
Craig, if you would receive the winner's check from Shell. I'm also going to call upon Charles Fleming, the captain of Huntingdale Golf Club, to officially present the gold jacket to our champion for 1999. Thank you, Charles. A perfect fit. And before we hear from you, Anne Parry, the National Sales and Marketing Director of Waterford Wedgwood, to present the magnificent trophy, the Waterford Crystal Trophy, to our winner, Craig Spence. Rounds of 64, 73, 69 and 70. Well, a bit heavier than I thought it was, Craig's just said. You're happy with it, though? You're not going to give it back, are you?
No, not at all.
I watched you coming in, and it was a very emotional moment for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did everything to just, you know, hold the emotion back and just focus on those last few holes. And I mean, me and Greg, we were within 1 or 2 shots of each other all day, and it was, I just can't say how good it feels to finish like that, and I'm wrapped.
I think we are too. You've given us some marvellous golf. It all started on the first day. That round of 64, that's really when you set yourself up for a big week.
Yeah, well, it was just one of those days that everything went pretty close to the stick and all the putts dropped, and I just, from there on, I just stayed patient and played good and just tried to keep my emotions under control.
A couple of things you mightn't be aware of. The Colac clubhouse is chock-a-block, and the roof's probably off it now. But they've enjoyed watching you all afternoon.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't know whether you're aware of, you became an uncle today.
Yes, congratulations to my sister Coralie. I'll be seeing her in the next couple of days, I'm sure.
I know there's people you want to thank. The microphone is yours.
Forgive me if I forget anyone, but first of all to my family, my mother and father, my girlfriend Nicole, John Casson, who's been incredible support for me, Dale Lynch, and just amazing how much time and how giving they've been to me, and the support they've shown me, the belief in me. From the tournament perspective, I'd like to thank Ericsson, the ANZ PGA Tour. Ericsson again did a fantastic job of running a sensational event. The Huntingdale Golf Club, the Colac Golf Club, thanks for all their support too. I'll put on a beer for everyone back at the Colac Golf Club. I'll pay you when I get home though. Everyone that's ever helped me out, really. A gentleman in the last few weeks, Pat Farrell, gave me a lot of help. I don't think he realises how much. Just everyone that's ever sort of been there for me, I thank you very much, and this is the best feeling.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for our champion for 1999, Craig Spence. Thank you, Craig.
Well, what an impressive young man Craig Spence, the winner of the 1999 Ericsson Masters, is, Jack. He played well, he carried himself well on the golf course, he spoke well, he did everything absolutely correctly, and at the end of the day, with his family watching, he beat Greg Norman, the former world #1, the winner of 6 gold jackets. What a day for Craig Spence.
Significant victory, Renton, because 24 years of age, he's probably one of the youngest. I'm not sure that there's been anyone younger than him won the Masters. But more importantly for Australasian golf, this fella, of course, what that will do will have a snowball effect. Some of these other fellas will see, well, Craig Spence can do it, so can I. And this marks, I think, a significant change in our Australian golf ranks. And I think it was a marvellous effort. To beat Greg Norman head-to-head is no mean feat, and I take my hat off to him. He's a nice young guy, and I think we're going to hear a lot more from him.
And I tell you, an excellent performance too from Kim Felton, the amateur who finished in joint 3rd position with 13 under par. What a talent and what a prospect for the future of Australasian golf.
Well, I think we've seen the last 2 weeks that Aaron Baddeley and Kim Felton, both players of the future.
On down the list there of the players who competed this week. It was the 21st Masters. The birthday party was absolutely superb. We've had some great finishes at the Masters over the years. We thought that, well, we had one of the best this year with the young Victorian Craig Spence winning the gold jacket. From us all, good night.
This has been a 7 Sports production.